Hey there, Brian Davis, Home Improved Man. I find myself in a situation working on another task where I need to cut a perfect circle. And so I'm going to give you a little tutorial on cutting a perfect circle. Now, the circle that I have to cut is 30 inches in diameter. And for those of you that are quick in math, what that means is a 15-inch radius. Now, there's a couple ways you can do that, and I'm going to use a jigsaw for all of my methods. And the first utilizes a saw guide. If you remove the guide, you're left with just this piece. You'll notice a hole in the end, and that hole will fit over a nail. Now, I've placed a nail at the center of my circle, and I can take that guide, and your jigsaw has little holes and a screw on which you could mount one of these guides. Unfortunately, this guide is a little bit short of where I need. I might be able to cut a 14-inch circle, although really 12 inches would be about what I would want to do, given the shape of this whole thing. So, very easy, but there's a maximum limit on this style. So what I'm going to do here is use the string method. I've taken a string and I've put a loop in one end, and I'm going to take that loop and run it over the nail that I've placed in the center of my circle. Now the other end of the string I'm now going to tie onto this jigsaw. I'm going to use the same slot that I would have used to insert this piece. That way I know that it will more or less keep the blade straight relative to the circle that I am cutting. So the blade will really be tangent to the circle. Again, throwing out some geometry terms for you all. Now, I've measured this so that the circle, my 30-inch diameter circle, is going to hit the edge of the board on these two spots. And so, as I put my blade in, I can use the edge of the board to set the distance for my string. The blade needs to touch the edge of the board. The string needs to be taut. And I want to make sure that the string doesn't have a lot of stretch to it, because my tendency is going to be pull it tight, so I want it to be as tight as I possibly can. And then I simply need to knot off my string. Now I've made a couple marks around the board so that as I go around, I'll know if I'm hitting my 15-inch radius or my 30-inch diameter, so I can check my work as I go. And the other thing that I should mention here is that I don't have a great cutting surface to work on. My horses and my other tables are at different locations around. They could be over in Saudi Arabia. It doesn't matter, because I can't get to them right now. I have to use the tailgate of my truck. Regardless of whether you're using the tailgate of a vehicle or you're using your horses or tables, is that you want to be very careful of where that cut's going to go, or more importantly, where the blade is going to go, to make sure that we don't hit any of those surfaces. So I know that I'm going to hit this spot right here, and I can already see that that's going to create problems, that I'm going to hit my tailgate, so I'm going to slide the whole plywood out a little bit further before I begin cutting. Now before I begin cutting, I'm going to move the camera, because right now the camera is sitting on top of the plywood, and I'm pretty sure the vibrations from the saw is going to make this video completely unwatchable if I were to leave it on the plywood. So, alright, I've got a toolbox that's going to help to weight down the end. Slide this a little further out. And hopefully the camera is situated so that it won't vibrate with the cutting. Clear out my walking area. Make sure that the end of the string is not going to interfere with the blade, and we will begin. I hit my first mark, showing me that I'm on track. Now, I'll show you in a minute, but my cut is not great. One of the things I can see is that I need to make sure I keep the tension on the string, because if I drift closer to the center, I won't notice. It's going to be a little bit wonky, but it should work on my situation because I need to cut out about a quarter of it, so I'll make sure that I cut out this piece that I just did. This is where the saw guide is more effective, so just make sure that you keep tension as you go around. Now I'm going to stop and change directions here, because once I cut this piece over here, the whole circle is going to drop. And I want to get this edge cut before I cut this last piece over here. As you're making these cuts, really think about pointing the saw, the jigsaw, away from the center. And then the tension of the string will keep you moving in the path that makes sense. I'm going to have to do a little bit here to hold up. Actually, no, I have a clamp. I'll be right back. There you go. Not perfect, but not bad. And this was my first time using this method. I'd heard of it and I knew it was available, but it's been I'd never had to make a circle this large. I think if I had did it one or two more times, I could have made it perfect, or pretty close to perfect. And if a perfect circle were essential for what I was doing, I would definitely do that. But given what I'm doing, this will be fine. Had to make another cut, another circle here, and I discovered an easy way to determine if you've got enough tension in the string, and that is watch the spring and look for vibrations in the string. When the string is taut, it won't vibrate. If it's shaking, it means there's not enough tension, and of course if it's slack, it means you're really light on the tension. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even share the video to some other hobbyists and people that can benefit by its existence. Thanks.